Welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. This is attempt number 2. Like I said, I've been trying to find ways where I can be showing you things online that I've mentioned sort of simultaneously in real time, but then you're watching the video. But I'm not just trying to send you to that spot where you have to do the search. Now, I have talked about finding trustworthy journalist and information sites, and that I say it all the time, don't believe everything you see online. I've always said find 2 or 3 sources that back it up. So what I want to show you is, press my little right there. The more you do this, the better you get it. Right. Okay, so give it a second. There we go. This is the website I've talked. This is the chart I've been talking about. And if you look at it, it is basically a chart of American sites. So I can find a chart for Canadian sites. But when I've done my research, what they're coming up with is Epoch Times is very far right. Don't trust it. Or, you know, it's information, but because it's so right-leaning, you want to be cautious of what the information is. And I have said before, when I followed up on Epoch articles, I find that their sources, like I've mentioned before in another video, was a professor from the University of Ottawa, but he wasn't from that department that they were talking about. So in that case, they were talking about the economy. The professor was something out of the philosophy department. So it just supports my, I don't really trust Epoch Times 100%. They're going to have a very, very right-leaning, anti-Chinese leaning. So if we look at this, we want to look at the neutral one. And those are those websites, American websites, that you want to go to actually verify and make sure that your information is correct. Now, Donald Trump has done a lot of ranting and raving about closing down various media sources that don't line up with what he says. He has in the last few days told all government institutions they are not to talk to anybody. So he's closing those doors to getting, for you as the person looking for the information, he's closing doors to you. So you want to be looking for those kind of right down the dead center, those neutral ones. We can get garbage left, humorous that they're calling it that, but they also have garbage right. So while you may find that first piece of information in a very left-leaning news source or one from a very right-leaning news source, you can take that and start looking to support that information by looking for things that are more neutral. So one of the it leans left, but it's 538, and it's actually more of a polling site. But it's always interesting to watch the polls, because what they do is take a bunch of polls and they do the data management thing and line it up and say, this is the average. So they're really not telling you it's this or that. They're giving you the data. Okay. The Hill is another one that leans left in the US. Now, obviously, leaning right is things like Forbes. It's a business one. Wall Street Journal, obviously a business one. But notice that they're only leaning left to right. So those would be, anything in those I would be having a fair amount of trust in. Yes. Are they biased? Everybody's biased. Like I said before, if I was to write an article on why students should learn cursive writing, well, I'm a big believer in cursive writing for multiple reasons. So of course my paper or my article is going to lean that way because it's what I believe, and I'm trying to write an article to support my beliefs. So you have to take that into consideration. But you want to avoid anything that's extremely left or extremely right. Okay, but that just gives you a picture of that, what I was talking about. Things like Vox, BuzzFeed, that one's, I've run into BuzzFeed a couple of times. Don't trust it as far as I can throw it. It very dramatizes everything, and it tries to make it glitzy. It doesn't really give you a whole lot of information. It just leads you to believe this or believe that. One that is not on there, that he is left-leaning, and it's Coffee with Texas Paul. He's a YouTuber. I would put him leans down here. He does get his data. I can back up his data. If he says something, I've heard him say something, I can go find it other places. All right. The other one, Canadian, obviously not on here since this is American, it would be Stephen Boots, right? You can tell when you listen to him that he is very left leaning, not hyper partisan left leaning, but he's definitely not a great lover of Poilievre. But him, like myself, are looking at how Poilievre is behaving, how he's reacting. And now these days he seems to have gone underground since he doesn't have Justin Trudeau to throw mud and sling at kind of mentality. But anyways, that's what I was talking about. There you go. Hope that helps.